This is a quick demonstration on how to install Oracle in a Windows 10 PC. So the first step is you download Oracle. So you go to your browser, favorite browser, using your favorite search engine and search. I'm using Google, so I'll search for Oracle 19c. Then from the list of results, I'm looking for one which talks about Oracle Database 19c. So I'll click on that. This takes me to the Oracle website where we have the 19c option for me to download. So I'll click on the first option here for download. So this will open a window which requires you to sign in. So after you sign in, you will be able to download it. Now, if you don't have an account with them, you can create an account with them here. For this demonstration, I had already created an account and downloaded the software. So after you create the account and you log in, it now allows you to download that app. So after you've downloaded the app, you download it into a folder location of your choice. For example, I have downloaded mine here. I want to extract it in local disk C. So after you download the app, after the download has finished, you need to identify where you will be installing your Oracle database. So in my example, I have come to local disk C and created a new folder called Oracle and copied the file I've downloaded there. So this is the file I've copied. Now, because the file is zipped, I have to extract the files. So to extract the file, you right click on the file you've downloaded. If you have not installed WinRAR, Windows gives you an option for extract all. So I'll just click on this option in my case for extract here. I'm doing this because I want the files to be stored in the same location, the folder called Oracle. Depending on the speed of your computer, this process can take a while. So for this recording, I'll pause and come back when the extracting has finished. After extracting, the folder where you've extracted should have these many other folders, as you can see here. There are quite a number. Now it is possible you would like to save space, so after extracting you can now delete this zipped file which you are using to extract. So in my case I'll delete it, I no longer need it. So I'm left with only the Oracle files here. So to install it now, after extracting, you double click on this button, the last one here in my case for setup. I'll double click. You confirm the user control because you're using Windows. You confirm the user account control. Maybe this is not showing on the screen. Just click on yes. So it is launching the Oracle Setup Wizard. So the Oracle Setup Wizard has a number of steps. So the first step here is step 1, which says select any of the following to install. For this session we are having, I would recommend we go with the first option, which is create and configure a single instance database. In the second step, that is step number 2, you choose the mode you want it installed. So I'll go with desktop class. So if you point this question mark, it gives you a tooltip explaining what this is. So it's saying select this option for a simple default installation of the database. And this is what we want, a simple installation of the database. So I'll go with that. Then in the next step, you have to specify an account. There are several options which can work here, but working with a virtual account with Windows 10 nowadays tends to be easier for setting up. So I'll go with the first option. The other times I tend to recommend using the last one, which is use Windows built-in account. But for this one, I'll go with use a virtual account, then click on next. So I'm working with the default so far, as you might have noticed. So in this step where we have a perform full database installation, you need to specify an Oracle base. So the Oracle base has to be different from what we have for, that is, it has to be different from the software location. So the Oracle base and the software location have to be different. So most of the time you can either create another folder, or you can pick one which Oracle suggests for you. This one is suggested for me, so I'll pick that. Then type a password and click on next. So in this next step, Oracle will verify whether your computer meets the minimum requirements before now giving you, if it meets the minimum requirement, giving you the option to go ahead and install. So I'll click on install and come back when the installation has completed. After the installation is completed, you can confirm that your Oracle database is working. You can confirm that it's working by opening command line. Here you type SQL plus. If you see this return information like shown on my screen, showing you the version of SQL plus and asking you to enter the username, your Oracle installation was successful. But to know that you have a database, you need to log into the system user. And the way you log into that is by typing sys as sysdba. Sys as sysdba. Considering that the software was installed using the current user you're logged in, this one does not require a password. So you type that and press enter. It shows you are connected to your Oracle database. Now that we are able to log in, we can confirm that our database is up and running. So Oracle, being a database management system, can be accessed through command line. That's why we use SQL plus. That's why we had to type SQL plus here. Or you can use a graphical user interface tool. The graphical user interface tool used by Oracle is from them, so you can go and search it. Again, using your favorite search engine, you go and search for SQL developer. I've added the word download. So SQL developer, because you want to download, you can say SQL developer download. This is a graphical user interface tool which you can use to connect to your Oracle database. So you click on search Oracle SQL developer download. You click on the first option, depending on your search engine. Then, because I'm using Windows 64-bit, you click on the option for download here. I've already downloaded mine, so I don't have to download it again. When you download, it is usually zipped, usually in a zipped folder. You extract the files in a specific location. I've extracted mine in a location called software. So the zip is this one, SQL developer, then they give you a number there. So after you extract it, I've extracted it in this folder. You open it, you look for the option towards the bottom here written just SQL developer, the application. Double click on it. It is supposed to detect your Oracle database. If it doesn't, you need to configure the database connection yourself. And in most cases, we do the configuration ourselves. So I'll wait for this to finish loading. Then we'll configure the connection to the database. So SQL developer opens like this. It doesn't have, it has not detected the database. So you have to do manual connection to your database. So on the panel on the left, you click on the green plus, which is for creating a new connection. And here you give the connection a name. Can be any name. I'll call mine just Oracle. I'll just call it Oracle. Yeah? Then the database type, you can just leave it as Oracle. Then user, authentication type, you can use a default. Then you come up with the username for what you want to connect to here. So username here is sys as sysdba. That is, if you want to use the sysdba user, you can work with that. So actually it is just sys. Then the role, you can specify if you want to work with that role, and you specify the role as sysdba. Then there is a password which you set up when you installing the database. You can add it here if so. There's a password you set when you're installing. Yeah. Before you add the password, I tend to recommend you click on test. There's a button at the bottom here for test. If it fails, it gives you a name here like test failed. Listener refused the connection with the following. Listener does not currently know the SID. So the issue is here. So the SID, if you do not make any changes during installation, the SID by default is usually ORCL. Let me test again. Again, it's saying failure, test failed, invalid username, password. So this one might require me to enter the password I added during the installation. So if you enter the password and test here and it says success, it means that you can now connect your database. So you just click on connect. I'll save. You save so that your connection will be showing here. Then you connect. So after the connection is done, now you can use the account for creating and managing databases. For example, you can write SQL statements. So this is now how we connect using the SQL developer.